Office Hours. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertation in 1 year or less. In today's video, we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why your dissertation is overwhelming. And my goal for today is to not only tell you why it's overwhelming, but to give you some strategy and insight that can help you propel the process forward faster. And so it's good to see everybody. I know we've been on a little break, getting everybody onboarded and started with the Velocity Group Coaching Program. And today's episode in particular is also sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. It is a 4-month dissertation coaching experience, and the goal is to get you to your proposal defense or final defense within the next 4 months. So if you're interested in learning more about the program and interested in joining, we do have a few slots left. If you're interested in doing that, you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com to learn more about the program, and you can apply. So again, it's www.velocitydissertation.com. Now with that, I would love to know, where are folks chiming in from? I know we have folks that are usually all over the world at this point. We have students in our program who are coming from as far as Kuwait to all sorts of states in the United States. So it's just a worldwide phenomenon in terms of getting through the doctoral journey. So I'd love to know, where are folks coming from today? So let us know where you're coming from, what university, and what you are currently working on in terms of where you are in the process. So I know we got some folks who might be working on the proposal, final stages. Let me know in the comments and give folks a minute to chime in and jump on. And again, as always, I want to say thank you to everybody who tunes in. If you can for me, go ahead and just share this on your stream. So you watch this on Facebook, hit a share, LinkedIn, wherever you are seeing this, just please share. It really helps us, really helps the reach, really helps us get support from other folks who need this information. Because there are a lot of doc students not finishing a dissertation. I don't want you to be one of those. And again, and today what we're going to talk about are the 5 reasons your dissertation is overwhelming. So let's jump right into it, because it's the start of the semester. A lot of y'all are trying to figure out, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? But there are sometimes a lot of our own processes and thoughts are getting in our way. And the first reason that I've started to learn why a lot of doc students are stuck and can't, and feel like the dissertation process is overwhelming is this idea that you can't decipher to when to be in what I call the creator mode versus the producer mode. And so I'm going to explain what both of these are. And the dissertation process is really confusing for a lot of folks and really overwhelming because you don't know which mode to be in. And so this is the best way I can break it down. For a lot of y'all, you all know that my background is in music. I have a degree in music. I'm very much interested and I love music, right? And so one of my favorite music artists, and the reason why I started to love music, was because I used to watch Michael Jackson videos and Thriller. I used to love Thriller, even though I was scared. I would hide behind the stairs, scared of Thriller, but I would love to listen to it. I'd be behind the stairs. I couldn't see it, but I could hear it. And I was always fascinated by the person who made the music. And when my grandmother told me it was Quincy Jones, I was like, oh, I want to be Quincy Jones. And he's a music producer. And so what I learned about his relationship with Michael Jackson, one, that he was older, right? He's 50 years old when he created Thriller, Michael Jackson's, iconic album. But what I started to learn about the relationship was that oftentimes they had to have this balance between creation and production. And so I think the same thing applies because, Michael Jackson's a creative. He's going to do all the music. He's going to create all the sounds. But at some point, he had to stop creation and actually go into production mode where Quincy Jones will refine it, take things out, scrap songs altogether. And a lot of students, when you're in the doctoral journey, you're going through the same process that Michael and Quincy goes through. And in particular, when you are in the creation mode, your job is to do the writing, is to get things down on paper, get your ideas out. But for a lot of you all, when you're in this creation mode, you're often trying to be the producer. And being in the production mode, what that means is you're trying to refine, edit, tweak, move pieces around in your paragraphs and sections. And oftentimes, a lot of doc students, when you should be creating, what you're actually doing is producing your work. And that's actually not a good thing, because oftentimes what you will do is focus so much on the production and polishing your work that you get no writing done. And this is how you know this is you. When you sit to write, what you will do is start to write, or if you've had something already written from the previous writing session, the first thing you is go back and reread everything that you previously wrote, try to edit that before you even start on the new thing you came to sit down and write today. So if this is you, let me know in the comments that this is you, because I know a lot of students do this where they, go back and edit and look at what they previously wrote. And because they've done that, it's actually slowed their momentum down, because you start editing, you start rewriting, you start telling yourself like that section was terrible. You give yourself all these negative thoughts. And that impacts you coming to sit down on the sections you really should be focused on and writing about. And I think you all got to be thinking about that. And when you're in this creation mode, what I want you to start thinking about when you're writing, and this goes for faculty too, who are like writing papers for publication, all these things, right? Creation mode, what I want you to start doing is actually every time you sit down to write, you're writing that new section and you never go back and look at the old stuff. I know for a lot of y'all, that's probably, some might be freeing to do this, but some of y'all might be apprehensive, right? And the key is to actually not go back and read, because you don't want anything to slow down your creation. While you're in that mindset, in that mode, when you're trying to create, you got to keep creating and keep creating. You don't want anything to stop that. So when you're in creation mode, I want you to continuously write without going back to edit. And then what will happen is you'll get to a point, let's say at the end of a section, I'll often say do it at the end of a chapter, is then you go back and reread and start to edit and produce the writing. And now you have your final, polished product. That's a better way to go about it, because now you get everything down on paper, even if it's sloppy, right? Your goal, and I always say to my students and clients in my program, is like, get the sloppiest draft on paper and we can edit from there. But a lot of y'all spend so much time trying to edit and fine tune stuff that you already wrote that you are wasting a lot of time actually getting things done. Because the thing is, once we have all complete and down on paper, we're going to fine tune section by section, and editing and producing is actually much quicker than doing the creation part and the writing. That's the heavy lift for all of y'all as writers, is the creation mode. When you go into production, you're just editing what's already there. You may have to add, but you're not starting from scratch. And a lot of you all have been going at this the wrong way, and it's slowing down your momentum, it's slowing down your process. So that is the first reason why the dissertations become overwhelming. You don't know which mode you should be in. Oftentimes you need to be in creation mode when you're doing the writing, but you're in production mode trying to edit everything. So again, if that's you, let me know, because I noticed a number of folks who have experienced that. And somebody, I just can't see your name on here, that said definitely. So we all go through it. I used to go through it until I figured this out, like what I was doing. I was like, oh, I just need to write everything out, and then I go back and edit and put the pieces together. It makes things so much easier. So that's the first piece, right? In terms of why the process and why the dissertation is overwhelming. The second one is that a lot of you all are doing too much while you're trying to write your dissertation. And what I mean by doing too much is the idea that you are taking on the new position. I remember when I was a doc student at Morgan State University, my advisor, Dr. Warren Heyman, shout out to Dr. Warren Heyman. I think he was teaching us until I think it's late 80s. Like, he is so sharp, a brilliant scholar. And I remember one thing he told me, and it stuck with me. He said, Ramon, don't get that new promotion while you're writing your dissertation. And he was absolutely right. I had classmates that were in our program. We were at the same pace. And I actually had some classmates who were ahead of me in their coursework and in their dissertation. And because they took that new position, while it increased their salary, which, I mean, we all got to live, so I get it. But because of that, it slowed down the momentum. And that was one piece of advice I actually used, and I did not go after a new position as I was writing my dissertation. Because he was, Dr. Heyman was just telling us, like, have your life consistent as much as you can, just so you can get through this, and then go do everything you need to do when you get the doctorate. You can move as freely as you want at that point. And that was one piece that I think is really important. But a lot of us who I find that are trying to write your dissertation are doing all the things and taking on that position, taking on extra responsibilities at work when you don't need to. And that can become and make the process overwhelming. So when you go to sit down to write, you have literally, depleted yourself from all of your work responsibilities. Also with that, I see a lot of folks who will prioritize everyone and everything but the dissertation, and talk about how I'm trying to get writing done, but I got the kids, I got family, I got work, and you're prioritizing everything, but not having a conversation with anybody that you're interacting with about how you need help to get through, and how that this process doesn't have to take forever. Literally, folks who have worked with us, they have decided, hey, I'm going to make a mid four-figure investment in myself to get help I need to get through this process and turn things around quickly. Like, I have one client, shout out to future Dr. Monica and future Dr. Aaron. I think Dr. Monica joined the program actually last month in August, and future Dr. Aaron joined in July, and they were past their proposal defense, had collected data, but were just stuck writing up their findings, and literally have written their entire rest of their findings and discussion chapters in the last month to 2 months. It doesn't take long when you have a process, but when you are have the ability to put things to the side and say, hey, I'm going to get this done. But a lot of you all are doing way too much with while you're writing your dissertation, is just throwing you off course. And this particular lesson, I also learned. I was reading this book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. He's a real estate mogul, but I've read this book, and he's talking about, just stick with the one thing. And it made sense, because even as somebody who runs a business, and sometimes we have all these ideas. Like, look, I have ideas for days, and sometimes I have to say, you know what, I can't do all those ideas. I got to focus on one thing and one thing only, and it keeps coming back to that over and over and over again. So I would say that for you all, focus on one thing, and that one thing is your dissertation, just for now. Trust me, if you're at the proposal phase, within a year, if you do this right and you really give it all you've got and give it all your attention, you can be done and have your doctorate. It's that simple. It's that easy. But a lot of y'all are trying to figure out and get the new job and do all these things that's taking you away. And it makes the process overwhelming, because you have no energy. You have nothing else to get to the dissertation, because you've given yourself all the way to everyone else. And again, any of this is resonating, please let me know in the comments. And if you have questions, let me know. And for folks who are just tuning in, this episode is sponsored by the Done Dissertation Velocity Group Coaching Program. It is a 4-month dissertation coaching experience with the goal of helping you get to either your dissertation proposal defense or your final defense in 4 months. So if you're interested in learning more about the program and joining, you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com. And so we talked about so far 2 of the reasons why your dissertation is overwhelming. Number 3, and this is something that you got to dig deep and actually have this conversation with yourself, is that you have literally become comfortable being stuck in the dissertation, and you're just mad at yourself. It's very interesting, right? You've gotten so comfortable being stuck, but you're mad at the same time. And what I would say is, if you have been stuck in the dissertation for more than 3 months and you haven't sought out support, you are indeed comfortable where you are, without a doubt, because you just have said, like, you're not willing to do anything else to kind of get you past this block that you might have. But the thing is, deep down, when you really look at yourself in the mirror, you are mad at yourself for being so comfortable. And that is something that you got to recognize, because if you want to get this thing done, you got to change what you've been doing. And a lot of folks, I find that when they come to work with us, the first thing that they shift is their mindset, because they start to realize is that I can't be comfortable where I am. In order for me to get to where I want to go, I have to break my comfortability. And what that might mean, I may have to do things I haven't done before. And so a lot of our clients in our program might be getting advice different than what they've ever gotten before. But when they implement, it works. And so this is the thing that I really want you to consider. But again, a lot of you have just been so comfortable being stuck and then just getting mad at yourself. You just do it over and over again. And you start telling your friends and family, you get frustrated with them when they keep asking when you're going to finish your dissertation, and you're like, I don't know. And you feel bad because you don't want to say, I don't know. You want to give them definitives, but you just don't know, not because of the work, but you just haven't put in all the things that you can do on your side quite yet. And so we have a comment from Walter. He says, the one thing approach is valuable because achievers tend to chase the clock or timeline / milestones. As a result, more time is spent trying to figure out how than doing. I'll put that on the screen for folks who can see that. That is an amazing comment, Walter, and is so true to this journey, right? I definitely think I agree with that. And here's the thing. It's so much easier to get one thing done than keep doing multiple things. You spread yourself too thin. And I do this all the time. Like I said, I'm an idea generator. I got ideas and thoughts for days, and I actually have the skill set that I can implement a lot of these ideas. But you have to figure out and have to just decide that this is going to be the one thing I focus on for right now. It's hard to definitely do it. I mean, I struggle with that all the time as someone in this space, but you have to figure it out, especially the dissertation. You got to do the one thing. But thank you, Walter, for that. I appreciate that. That's a great insight. But again, a lot of us, as we're thinking about this, when we think about doing one thing, we decide not to because it's more comfortable for us having multiple things going on, right? A lot of us say, oh, I'm going to write my dissertation, but I'm going to do, this other thing over here. I'm going to start this new club, an organization. Like, I'm doing all these things. But at the end of the day, you said, I need my doctorate because of, all these reasons, right? You want the promotion at work. You want the increased visibility that the doctorate gives you. You want the increased consulting fees that you can charge. You want all the things where you position yourself as an expert, but you got to be willing to put in the work and do something different. But again, if you are comfortable being stuck, the Velocity Group Coaching Program is not for you. I will say that again. If you are comfortable being stuck and you don't want to change, the Velocity Program is not for you. We are only looking for people who want to make a change. They're looking to do something vastly different to get to somewhere they are not currently. And again, it just takes the belief, and it takes you to be consistent And it takes for you to have a proven process, which we have. And if you're willing to implement and you have the belief that you can, then we are the great place for you. The fourth reason why that a lot of y'all are feel like the dissertation process is overwhelmed is because you are waiting for everyone to tell you what to do versus you developing a plan and then having other folks give you feedback on your plan. And I always get this analogy. It's like a lot of us as doctoral students, we're in a car and we're a passenger. We have our dissertation chair as a passenger and our committees are passengers, for instance, right? The way the process should go, you, the doctoral student, should be driving the car. You should be in the driver's seat. Your chair should be next to you in the passenger side and your committee in the back seats. But what's happening for a lot of you all is that actually you want the dissertation chair to be in the driver's seat and you sit on the passenger side, or even sometimes you want to sit in the back. And that's not the way that you need to approach this dissertation process. You got to be in the driver's seat and willing to take control. And with that means having a plan, coming to your chair with the plan and helping and allowing them to help you tailor your plan. That is the way this process gets done. Not sitting around waiting for your chair to tell you, all right, you need to write chapter 2 next. You need to write chapter 3 next. Okay, now write the IRB. Because what ends up happening, you become so passive, you wait for them to tell you what to do. This process will take forever. You're at the whim of how fast your chair wants to move versus you dictating the pace to an extent by coming up with a plan and presenting it and getting feedback. That's how our students win in our program, how we get folks out so fast. They are literally fast tracking the process because they are staying steps ahead of their chair and committee. But again, it takes for you to have a certain mindset that you're going to take ownership and control of the process versus let the process take control of you. And again, we're looking for folks who are looking to make that shift, but might just need a strategy on how to do it. And for those of you all just tuning in, again, this is Done Dissertation Office Hours. This episode is sponsored by the Velocity Group Coaching Program. It is a 4-month dissertation coaching experience with the goal of helping doctoral students write and defend either the dissertation proposal or getting to their final defense in the next 4 months. And if you are interested in learning more about the program, you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com. And again, it's www.velocitydissertation.com. And for my folks on Instagram, I'm not sure who's on right now, but if you can just type it in the comments so I can pin it, that would be great. So again, www.velocitydissertation.com to apply and learn more about our program. And so I'm going to get back into it. The last and the fifth reason why your dissertation feels overwhelming is that this idea that you have no guidance from your chair, and instead of asking for help, you're trying to figure this thing out all by yourself. Here's what I do know about this journey, right? The process, if you're trying to do it by yourself, can be very lonely, for one. And then if you're trying to figure out all the things yourself, you'll get stuck. At some point, you will get stuck. And there's only so much YouTube University. There's only so much TikTok dissertation tips you can look up, right? To figure out what to do. At some point, you need help. You need guidance. If you don't get it from your chair and you're not willing to at least ask and get that process going, go and seek outside support. That's why we created the Velocity Group Coaching Programs to help clients like yourself who need that extra support and know they don't want to get stuck in this process and want to move things along. But it takes a certain mindset. But a lot of you all get so overwhelmed and you just start to say, my chair doesn't care about what I have going on. My chair is unresponsive, X, Y, and Z. Because a lot of times when we unpack that and ask you questions, typically your chair is unresponsive because you haven't reached out to them in 3 or 4 months. Sometimes they're unresponsive because y'all never talked about expectations about their turnaround time on writing. So when you submit something, you think you should get it back in a week. But in their mind, they're actually thinking they'll get it back to you in 6 weeks. Again, you hadn't talked about it or laid out the expectations. And that will destroy the doctoral experience for you. And this is exactly why that if you haven't gotten help and you find that what you needed, you're not getting, you definitely have to get some support elsewhere. And thanks to Walter. Walter says he talked about the previous one or talked about the driver analogy. And again, I think the driver analogy applies to just getting help. Sometimes in this process, you may need to drive that car over to Done Dissertation and get some support and get out of the process. And Walter says the driver analogy is interesting because early in the process, I found myself frustrated with my chair because I thought that he wasn't responsive to my questions. I was able to find a better operating space by becoming the driver and telling my chair what I wanted to do so that I could get focused feedback. I'll put that up so folks can see. But yeah, that is a great comment and great thought, Walter, in terms of getting the support that you might need in terms of getting through the process. Because again, being the driver is so much better. When you're a driver seat, you can dictate where things need to go. You can pull over and say, hey, I need help. Sometimes you can get a passenger out the seat. So sometimes your committee might just not be the right people in the car to get you to your destination, right? So you might have to get them out of their seat. And so these are things that you definitely can apply. But again, if you've been stuck and you're trying to figure it out all alone, it's time to get help. It's time to get support that you need. And that's why we created the Velocity Group Coaching Program, because we wanted to help doctoral students get to the next phase in the journey and get doctorates. My goal was to help get at least 1,000 doctoral students through this process. And that's not a short feat for sure, but I want you all to do this because there's so many opportunities, and you all are doing so much edge research that could change lives, including my own, including my family. And it's our goal at Dissertation to help you get to that next phase and not let this process get in the way. Because I've seen too many students who have just thrown in the towel and right before their transformation is coming. And I definitely don't want that to be you. And John Quick says that this was great. This is great advice. Thanks, John. In particular, let me know what resonated with you and what you found that was helpful, just so I know for future videos and things like that. I appreciate that, John. So with that, just to recap, we talked about the 5 reasons why your dissertation is overwhelming. First things first, you can't decipher or know if you're in creation mode or producer mode. So if you're watching this on the replay, go back to the beginning of this video and learn more about what's the difference between being a creator and a producer. And a lot of you all are probably doing the wrong one at the wrong time. Number 2 is that you're doing too much while writing your dissertation. You're taking a new job, you're prioritizing everyone and everything over the dissertation, and you're not willing to do the one thing, which is work on your dissertation, right? All it takes is a structured amount of time, focus on this one task to get it done. The third reason why you're overwhelmed in the dissertation process is that you become so comfortable being stuck that you're also getting mad at yourself at the same time. It's kind of this oxymoron, right? Like, I don't like where I am, but I'm comfortable being where I am. And so, in the Velocity Group Coaching Program, we're always looking for clients who are looking to change their circumstance and get out of being stuck. But a lot of y'all are just comfortable being stuck. And then the thing I find crazy is that you're comfortable being stuck. Meanwhile, you are paying thousands of dollars in tuition, and then you come to ask us for help and work with us, and you see that it's a mid 4-figure investment to work with us, and you're just saying like, no, it's too expensive. I'll try to figure it out myself. And literally every semester you're spending thousands of dollars. So literally making a mid 4-figure investment yourself working with us can get you a year back on your process. You're going to save $10,000 to $20,000 in tuition by itself and generate more money and income in terms of your 9-to-5 position, your consulting, all these things. So literally, you got to change your mindset into investing in yourself, getting the support that you need to fast track the process. And that's literally what we're helping you to do. Then the 4th reason why folks feel like the dissertation is overwhelming is that you're waiting for everyone to tell you what to do versus you developing the plan and then getting people to give you feedback on it. That's a whole different process. Again, as I mentioned and previously, go back in the recording, you'll see I talk about the driving the car analogy. A lot of you all want to be in the passenger seat in the car, but you need to be in the driver's seat dictating where the car should go. Once you make that shift, the process becomes so much easier and so much more manageable and less overwhelming. And then lastly, the 5th reason why your dissertation is overwhelming is that you have no guidance from your chair. And so instead of getting help, you're just trying to figure it out yourself. And then you keep spinning around in circles, and then you keep seeing your classmates finish and getting frustrated that they're finishing. Meanwhile, you could have gotten help and support that you needed and working with us in the Velocity Coaching Program and gotten to where you needed to go in 4 months. So again, these things make no sense, but sometimes we get so comfortable being where we are that we can't see the future and we can't see what looks over the hill for ourselves. And sometimes you need someone that can help lift you up and help you see what's on the other side. And that's essentially what we help doctoral students do, is to see what's on the other side of this process so that it is more manageable to get through. And with that, if you're a doc student and you need support and you want to help to get through the dissertation process, definitely visit www.velocitydissertation.com to apply to Velocity Group Coaching Program. And if you find that you have a number of doc students in your program that need support, reach out to us and shoot me a DM, because I would love to reach out to your program director or the dean in your college or whoever handles professional development for you all, so that we can get you all the support from your institution. So we are firm believers that we can work with your universities as well. And we have a number of university partners that we collaborate with to help their doctoral students. So if this is something you want to bring to your university, you'd like for me to come out and do workshops with you all and have our Velocity Group coaching program available to all the students, shoot me a DM. I have a couple questions for you, just so I can get the contact information, and then we can get things rolling from there and get it set up so we are at your university and you get the support that you need to finish. So with that, that is all I have for today. What I want you all to do is let me know if you have any questions in the chat. I'll stay on for a couple minutes answering any particular questions. And again, this episode is sponsored by the Velocity Group Coaching Program. It is a 4-month doctoral journey, doctoral experience, coaching experience, where we help support doctoral students getting through the dissertation process. So the goal over the next 4 months is to get to either your proposal defense or your final defense. And so please let me know if you have any questions. And again, to visit our website to learn more about the program and to apply, just to click the button to apply. Application takes about 5 minutes. Just make sure you submit your writing sample. Is that you go to www.velocitydissertation.com to apply to the program. And with that, I'll see any questions that folks might have right now about anything that we talked about today, or anything related to your journey, or anything about the program that you would want to know more about. Just checking all my comments. I don't see anything there. Let me just double check. I know sometimes there's a little slight delay on when you all get it. A shout out to whoever dropped the mic on Facebook. I appreciate that comment. I can't bring it up on screen, but I appreciate whoever that was. And then someone said, say it. Yeah, it's just important that we put it out there in terms of the mindset about investing, getting the support that we need to get through the process. Because this process is too lonely. It's too expensive to try to figure this thing out all by ourselves. So again, any questions that you all might have about the dissertation process? And again, don't be shy. Feel free to ask your question. This is a community we're here to support and get you all through the process. And I'm just checking LinkedIn because I know sometimes y'all is a little bit slightly delayed than everybody else. So I'm just double checking. And shout out to Walter and John for the comments on LinkedIn. And we also had someone on Facebook tuning in. So I appreciate the support and appreciate the commentary as well. So with that, I don't see any questions. So as always, I want to say thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. I'm Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend the dissertation in 1 year or less. Make sure if you need the support to get through the process, definitely check out our Done Dissertation Velocity Group coaching program. To learn more about the program and apply, you can visit www.velocitydissertation.com. And again, it's www.velocitydissertation.com. And I look forward to seeing you all next week on another episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. Have a great night. And I'm sorry. Actually, I saw one question. Y'all caught me right before I hit off, so I'll stay on for a quick second. I got Walter. John says, I agree with Walter with the driving analogy, but I know some committee members are very subjective and can sometimes cloud your ideas. But this is my second chair, and she is more helpful than the first. She is more explicit but encouraging. But I had my first chair was very dogmatic. Yeah, and John, that is part of how this process can go sometimes. It's just part of the journey. But when you come up with a plan, you start to kind of, even if they're trying to put clouds on your plan, you started out with a plan. So now they're putting clouds on something that you created versus them developing the cloud themselves. You kind of take that approach, right? I think that's important to consider in this process, especially when you have folks who want to insert their ideas, which is fine. I'm a dissertation chair and I tell my students things all the time. But when they come with a plan now that I'm working with in their construct, in their confines versus them working within mine, which could be very different than what they wanted to do. But that's a great comment and great thought. Is there anything else before I drop off for the evening? And again, if you, John and Walter, if you could share this on your timeline on LinkedIn, man, that would really help me to kind of reach more doc students. I know there's more folks like you that might have similar questions. So if you could do that for me, I really would appreciate it. I know we have a slight delay, so I'll give anybody next minute or two if they have any other comments. All right. I think we are good. And again, thank you all so much for. We will talk next week. We for the next couple of months we will be doing. Typically, we've done this on Mondays, but for the next couple of months, because our coaching program meets on Monday nights, we will on Tuesday nights be having these office hour sessions. So definitely tune in next week around 8:30 or so. And we will do that. And if we're trying to see to explore if earlier in the day works better during lunchtime or continue at this 8 o'clock. So definitely let us know what works best for you all. But we love to do this. We love to give you all the insight and game to get through this process. Again, please share this out with folks that you know that are in your networks. It really helps us get visibility with our work, but then also gets the message out so that doctoral students can get the insights they need to finish their dissertation. So with that, I'm tuning out. I look forward to seeing you all next week. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. If you want me to come to university and us to provide workshops and also provide a cohort of our Lassie Group coaching program at your university, shoot me a message. I can tell you more about it and how we can get that going. And I look forward to seeing you all soon and next week on another episode.